And we are live. Welcome back to Takes by Fans. We got a great show for you today. As always, we're live every single day at noon Eastern. If you want to watch live, head over to twitch.tv/takesbyfans. If you want to watch but not live, head over to our YouTube channel, Takes by Fans. We post all of our shows and clips of the show there on a daily basis. And if you just want to listen, we are on podcasting apps, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio. So however you want to watch or listen, we've got you covered multiple ways. Alrighty, today's a big old Tuesday. Is tonight the last day of NBA basketball for the entire season? Potentially, Bucks up 3-2, Game 6 in Milwaukee tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern. They win, the Bucks are champions, and our initial prediction at the start of the playoffs was the Bucks, folks. We chose the Bucks to win it. We had it Bucks in 6 over the Jazz, and we had the Jazz beating the Suns in the Western Conference Finals, and I believe 6 or 7 games. So our, initial prediction of Giannis getting his ring could potentially come true tonight, folks. And not a lot of people had the Bucks like we did, but y'all know y'all don't give us the credit that we deserve. Whatever, we don't care. So we'll break down that show. We'll see what the spread is. We finally hit a bet. I don't think we hit anything in the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. We didn't hit anything games 1 through 4. But Game 5 was the magical night where we finally hit and we're ready to kind of go back to back and end the season on a big all high note. So we'll see what the spread is and see if we can kind of find the value. Y'all know we love finding value here. So we'll break down the game and see what we can get. We probably won't get to the NFC Championship game 2016 Packers Falcons to judge Aaron Rodgers, because we do have a lot to get to today, a lot of good stories to talk about. So let's just jump right into it with the first one. And this one, oof. We know training camp is coming, and we always have, a real bad injury in training camp taking away a star player, usually 1, possibly 2. It's truly unfortunate, and we kind of have our first victim of, early or late off-season injury. Unfortunate. So here it is. Rams running back Cam Akers, suffered a torn Achilles while training. Oh, man, it wasn't even the official training camp. That starts next week. He was just working out on his own, getting right to be right for training camp, and the man tore his Achilles. That is over for the year. Done. No question. Not, maybe he can come back, late in the season, week 13, 14. Maybe he can play in the playoffs. It's done. A full year. Cam Akers and the Rams are definitely going to be missing him. And this is definitely going to affect the Rams. I mean, they were set on having Cam Akers be their running back number 1. He was their running back number 1 in the depth chart. He was a rookie last season and really kind of exploded onto the scene. We look at his stats, only 625 rushing yards, but he only started 5 games. And those kind of 3 of the last 4 games of the season, he started. He probably would have started all 4 games, but he missed week 16. Game 15, week 16. So he missed that game, but he started the end of the season. So they were expecting this man to be the running back number 1. So you lose your running back, never great. We had this Rams team going to the Super Bowl, and it's definitely going to make, Matthew Stafford's job a little bit tougher, because you're not going to be able to 100% rely on that running game like you thought you were going to be able to do during the season. And now Matt Stafford's going to have to step up a little bit. And now when we kind of talk about a replacement, who's their running back number 2? Well, they still have Darrell Henderson, and he was basically the starter for the entire year last season until Cam Akers really just kind of took over the starting role. They were still kind of splitting carries in the backfield, which is still good. We see Darrell Henderson, he's going into his 3rd season, and he only had 624 yards last season. So 625 yards for Cam Akers and 624 yards for Darrell Henderson last season. So truly splitting carries and basically ran for the same amount. So Darrell Henderson is probably going to slide back to running back number 1. But then what do we do for running back number 2? We just talked about yesterday on the show, we were talking about those top 100 free agents still available. Le'Veon Bell, Adrian Peterson saying he's ready to go and ready to work. And then we have Todd Gurley still. Can he get back to work? Can he get back into his kind of prime before the arthritis set in his knees? We saw him in Atlanta last season, not that great, and he got his start with the Rams. Does he return home? He's already a little familiar. Definitely they want to make the transition for Matt Stafford a little bit easier, and if you bring in a veteran that knows this Rams system, knows Sean McVay, knows all of this, maybe they go back to Todd Gurley. It'd be real interesting to see what they do here for the running back number 2. Now that, Cam Akers is gone and Darrell Henderson had to slide back up to running back number 1, because Darrell Henderson would have been a great running back number 2. That'd be fine. 600 yards splitting carries with Cam Akers. We could rely on that. But you just lost a little bit of depth, and depth is truly needed in the NFL. As we know, injuries truly, they happen, throughout the entire season. Before training camp hits, at training camp, early in the season, late in the season, mid-season. Injuries happen all the time, so you are going to have to try and shore up that depth a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Rams, do they go out and just get one of those 3 running backs in free agency that we just mentioned, or do they just kind of hold on what they got? Because their kind of numbers 2, 3, and 4 here, nothing great. Their number 2 is Xavier Jones, who has never ran in this league before, going into his second season. Okay, never great. Raymond Calais, what has he got? Has never ran. He's a rookie this season, so they don't have that depth that they need at the running back position. So I would say the Rams would kind of get on this to see, hey, Adrian Peterson, what do you got? You said you were feeling good. You ready to rock? You feeling good? You're going to be running back number 2, but you could definitely potentially work your way up to running back number 1 in training camp if everything goes good. Hey, Le'Veon Bell, I know, you haven't had the best reputation in the league the last couple of seasons, but you want to come give it a go with Matt Stafford and us? We know Le'Veon Bell could definitely be a running back number 1 here, and then the same thing with Todd Gurley. Hey, Todd, you want to come back to L.A.? Give it one more go? Come on, we need you this year. We're kind of, we're in this kind of do-or-die situation. We need you. You're familiar with the squad, the team, the schemes, all of that. The knees, are they going to hold up? You can be running back number 2. We don't have to make you the workhorse running back. So I really would say the Rams would kind of go out and get one of those free agents as soon as possible. But we get this tweet right here from Peter Schrager of Fox Sports. He announces it on Twitter. Akers news is a blow to the Rams offense and more importantly to the player. He is a great kid. And then he says this, one note, I don't see the Rams panicking and rushing out to sign a veteran replacement in the coming days. I have the opposite opinion. I really think we all, we've been talking about this the entire offseason. This is a do or die season for Sean McVay. He cannot go into this season with, a solid runner, Chris Henderson. He's solid, folks. I mean, we'll take that 624, excuse me. 625 was Cam Akers, a little bit better. But we'll take that. We love, running back by committee. And if they were both getting, 600 plus yards year one kind of together, we'll take that. Cam Akers was a rookie last year. Darrell Henderson going into his third year. So those are still solid numbers that we can build upon and still kind of, get behind and root for and bet on and all that. But now that it's a sink or swim season, you need this running game to help out the passing game. You have to go out and get another veteran. Somebody that at least can run the ball, at least, be that running back number 2. And Le'Veon Bell, Adrian Peterson, Todd Gurley can all be great running back number 2s in this league. I've got no kind of question or problems about that. So Peter Schrager says they're not going to rush out and get a replacement. I really do think we would probably see a signing before this week ends. Get him into training camp. Make sure he's there week 1, whoever they pick up in the free agent market, so that they're ready to rock. You cannot go into this must-win season with 2 running backs behind Darrell Henderson that have never rushed in this league. That is not going to work. That is not going to get it done. Truly unfortunate. So I truly think this Rams team is going to go out and sign somebody really I would say definitely before the weekends. I would say I'm a little not agreeing with Peter Schrager here. But before we move off of this, I want to kind of see, since the stats were so similar on what they did, and we kind of know that Cam Akers was running back number 1 going into the season, I want to take a quick look at their highlights from last season just to see if we do see any real drastic differences between Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson. Can we buy Darrell Henderson as a running back 1? Is this Cam Akers injury truly going to hurt the Rams overall? So let's just quickly see. We've got both of their highlights up from last season, so we can kind of compare the runners. How is one looking? How's the other looking? So let's start here with Cam Akers. We're not going to watch all 6 minutes. Each highlight package is 6 minutes. We'll go through this quickly. We just want to see, what do we see on film? Yes, we could talk about stats and what's on paper and all of that, but what are our eyes telling us? Which of these running backs is better for this team going forward? So here we go. Let's start here with Cam Akers highlights first. Let's see what we get. Here we go, week 5 against Washington. Washington gets stuffed at the line, but then takes it for 8 yards after that. Love that. Great job to stay on his feet, take the contact right to the line of scrimmage, and able to kind of move forward. Here we go, hitting the holes. A nice move to make one man miss. Another shift to go back inside. And then does he have breakaway speed? No, but he's real shifty. Doesn't have breakaway speed, but he's real shifty to kind of get in and out, change directions very quickly, and make defenders miss. So this is real great by Cam Akers. Just does not have that kind of take the top off the defense speed. He kind of got chased down from behind a little bit. All right, here we go against the Dolphins. Just kind of a solid 10-yard run. Made somebody miss and then just kind of, lowered his shoulder and got an extra kind of yard or two. Here we go. Out in kind of the swing pass. Ooh, making defenders miss. Oh, this man's got some moves. Look at these cuts, folks. Really making everybody miss out here on one-on-one situations. Love it. Cam Akers, the shifty runner out here. All right, against the Seahawks. Once again, just following his blockers, going for 18 yards. Here we go in the red zone. What can he do? Out in the swing pass, bingo, bango, catches the ball, goes across over the goal line. That's a touchdown passing catch for Cam Akers. Let's look at those stats really quickly. These receiving stats. Cam Akers only 123 yards receiving last season, and Darrell Henderson 159. So they are truly kind of same statistically on everything they do. So this is why we have to use the eye test to really kind of see which one we would prefer to have. Cam Akers here. Yes, sir. Hits the hole, and there he goes. Maybe he does have breakaway speed. Damn. Woo. If he put on the Jets here against the 49ers, rushing for about 50 yards clean. Look at that. Racing 3 defenders all the way down inside the 10-yard line. You love to see it. Woof. Cam Akers got some elite speed right there. That was great. That was way better than that Dolphins play. Here we go on the goal line right here. Just powers his way ahead for 1 yard for the touchdown. Fantastic. Against the Cardinals from the 10-yard line. Yes, sir. Look at that. He's dragging these defenders. First contact is at the 5-yard line, and he just drags one defender the last 5 yards for the touchdown. This man is fast, shifty, and strong. We are loving it so far. A truly big blow to this Rams team, folks. All right, here we go against the Cardinals. Little bit of a running back screen. That seemed to be like illegal man downfield. That should have been a penalty. Jeez Louise. These linemen are 10 yards downfield trying to set up a block. Woof, not great. But I don't think they called it, and that's Cam Akers on 3rd and 1. Fantastic. Against the Cardinals again, real solid run there. Here we go. Let's watch this Patriots run right here. Bouncing out to the outside. One defender to beat. Can he beat him on the sideline? It's good speed, folks. Brought it within the 5-yard line. Here we go. Right up the middle following the blockers. Bingo, bango, 12, 13 yards. We'll end it here. Last play. 2nd and 1. Just bouncing. Quick shifts. Gets 7, 8 yards for the first down. We'll get one more play. I want to see one more explosive big play to end on here. Here we go. Hitting the hole. Dragging defenders for 10 yards. This is fantastic by this man, folks. Here we go in the passing game. Catching the ball on 3rd and 18. And just coming 1 yard short, 2 yards short of that first down. Dang. Jared Goff hitting just quickly on 3rd and 10. He does not go down, folks. This man fights. If you got 1 defender on him, 2 defenders on him, 3 defenders on him, he is still trying to get every single yard he can, keeping those legs moving. And here we go, hitting the outside for about 15, 20 yards. This will be the final play we leave it on. Let's see what we get here. Nothing open, nothing open. Waiting. First and 10, and that's a first down for 10 yards. So a patient runner waits for the holes to develop. Solid in the passing game. Has some nice quick spurts, some great in and out cuts, and can really make any defender miss while dragging and kind of running into multiple defenders. Cam Akers, man, this is going to be hard for Darrell Henderson to really beat out here. This could be a real bad year for this Rams team not having Cam Akers. So now that we saw Cam Akers, let's see what we saw from Darrell Henderson. Was he a little bit better? Is there anything, he did better? Anything he was doing worse? How is his speed? Is his speed better? Is his kind of, physicality better? So here we go. Darrell Henderson's 2020 highlights. Here we go. First play up against this Eagles team. And just staying on the outside. Broke a tackle right there. 5 yards. Solid. Nothing great. Here we go in the pass game, a running back screen set up. Blockers are good. Darrell Henderson, a nice stiff arm, but ends up getting brought down for 10 yards. Hitting the hole right up the middle. There we go. Darrell Henderson. Oh, boy. He's got some solid speed, too. Ended up getting chased down from behind, but, we'll give him a second chance to try to have that breakaway speed. Here we go. Against the Eagles again. This is still week 2. Darrell Henderson going right up the middle. Not breaking as many tackles. Really kind of going down on first contact. We saw Cam Akers, still carry bodies. Here we go in the passing game, running a wheel route here. And this is good for about 30 yards. And then he catches it down to the 2-yard line. That's great. He might be a little bit of a better pass catcher. We didn't really see Cam Akers go down, 10, 15 yards down the field. Everything was just kind of, in the backfield, 1-2 yard kind of slant routes over the middle. We got Darrell Henderson running nice wheel routes that go kind of 20, 30 yards down the field, and he's catching the ball great there. That was great. Here we go on the goal line here against the Eagles. Gets hit in the backfield, keeps his leg moving, and he's just able to cross the goal line for the touchdown. Against the Bills, right up the middle for 10 yards. Against the Bills again, right up the middle for about 15 yards. Against the Bills again, right up the middle again for 10, 13 yards. Yes, sir. Against the Bills again on 3rd and 1, right up the middle, and there he goes. 10, 15 yards. Bingo. On the goal line against the Bills. Boom. Over the goal line. This man is slaughtering this Bills team. Damn. How many yards did he have against this Bills team? What week is this? Let's go back. We got week 3. What was he doing in week 3? He must have had, I think he had 100 yards on the ground here, folks. What do we got? Against Buffalo, 114 yards, folks. The man absolutely obliterated that Bills team. Damn. Woo, very well done. 114 yards against the Bills. Love it. All right, here we go against the Giants. Play action pass. Throwing to Darrell Henderson in the backfield. What can he do? Makes a defender miss and powers his way for about a 15-yard gain. But once again, he's not really breaking a lot of tackles. Here we go on the running back screen against the Washington football team. Only gets us like 7 yards. This man isn't dragging defenders, breaking tackles, dragging defenders, for an extra 5-yard gain. There he was on the goal line right here. Here we go once again, kind of on a little bit of a wheel route. And, he's able to take it for the first down for an extra 10 yards. But the first hit brings him down. The first contact is always bringing this man down. Here we go in the passing game, right over the middle of the field in a nice little kind of angle route. Darrell Henderson right up the middle. So no breakaway speed. Here we go. We'll end it here. 10-yard gain, first down, up the middle. Here we go. Against the 49ers, solid blocking, 10 yards, which is great in the NFL. Getting 10 yards a run is great here, but we're not seeing the same kind of great moves and finesse that we saw from Cam Akers. So definitely Cam Akers was definitely the right choice to be running back number 1. Look at this man get tripped up here. He's still able to kind of take it for an extra 3-4 yards, but ultimately he's not breaking those tackles. So I think the Rams are truly going to miss kind of, having Cam Akers as running back number 1. He was going into his kind of, second year to really kind of prove that he was going to be this kind of A1 tier 1 running back in the league. But the Achilles injury holds them back a year, and I definitely see this Rams team going to get a replacement because Darrell Henderson was good, but like we said, everybody else does not have experience. You have to go and get a veteran. This is a do or die year, and I don't think of what we saw, Darrell Henderson was really the guy to go out and do it. Cam Akers was making way better plays, way more explosive plays than we saw from Darrell Henderson, so we'll see what the Rams do, but early losses, early injuries, they happen, folks, and it's truly unfortunate. And this is just the first one. We know more are coming. We hope we don't see any more, but we know more are coming from just, history. Yeah, we get this, every year. Oh, we're not having this big name injured in training camp. It's unfortunate. It's the name of the game, unfortunately. Next man up mentality, and let's see what the Rams do in that regard. All right, let's go to the other kind of big story today. The Packers offered Aaron Rodgers a big old deal, and the man turned it down. So Aaron Rodgers declined a contract extension from the Packers that would have made him the NFL's highest paid player, but there's also kind of rumors floating around that they would have made Aaron Rodgers the highest paid player in NFL history, folks. So that would have been interesting. So we get Aaron Rodgers. Now, this wasn't just, today that they just offered him, a deal today. This is Adam Schefter reporting that the Packers did offer him a big contract extension, a 2-year extension that would have locked him up for 5 solid years, 5 straight years. But Aaron Rodgers declined, folks. And we know this. This was never about the money for Aaron Rodgers. We've been knowing this. It's all about the respect. Now, we just don't know the full in-depth details of how disrespected he feels he's being treated. The only kind of 2 circumstances that we truly know that Aaron Rodgers, had a problem with, and if these were the only 2 problems, we don't 100% agree that Aaron Rodgers should be making all this fuss and noise around the organization. But what the disrespectful actions were: 1, not kicking the field goal on 4th down in the NFC Championship game when they were in the red zone. That was the first one, or one of them. The first one was that they drafted Jordan Love. That was the only offensive draftee that they had in the last 2 years, was his replacement. So those were the only 2 actions that we've been hearing, that we've heard, that Aaron Rodgers has vocalized that he feels disrespected by the Packers organization. Those were the only 2, folks. That's why we want to hear from Aaron Rodgers. We want to know the true in-depth disrespect that you have been feeling, because maybe we can agree with Aaron Rodgers. But if those are the only 2 circumstances that we have, 2 evident circumstances of Aaron Rodgers being disrespected by his organization, by his team, by his coach, by the owner, we don't think that's a real reason why he should be making this big of a fuss, demanding a trade, saying I'm not going to show up, and holding the team hostage. It's a little nonsensical. So that's why we want Aaron Rodgers to kind of spill the beans, but we know he doesn't. He's Turtle Rodgers. We know this. But it was never about the money. It's always about respect, and this, just once again reaffirms it. You can make him the highest paid quarterback in NFL history, the highest paid player in NFL history. It doesn't matter. He doesn't want to be there. He feels disrespected by you. But y'all can still go 13-3 and flounder in the NFC Championship game. So that's where we're at with Aaron Rodgers, folks. I just don't get it. We know training camp is coming up. Their training camp starts next Wednesday. So we'll see if he shows up. We know he doesn't want the money. It's all about respect, and it's about legacy on why he may be planning to play this season. So, also, we get this kind of little nugget from Albert Breer on Twitter. He said he asked Packers general manager Brian Gutekunst over draft weekend if he was willing to give Aaron Rodgers a big new contract. He said, quote, "Yeah, absolutely. We've been working on it for quite a while. I don't think that'd be something standing in the way." So once again, the Packers were ready to pay this man. They have no problems paying this man all this money, giving him the money that he thinks he deserves, that he actually does deserve. He's a great, just pure passer, but overall he doesn't know how to get the wins, and the money was never the issue for the man. So we don't know what we only know it's disrespect, folks. That's it. And it's only those two circumstances. I can't think of another disrespectful action that we've seen or that we're aware of or that we've heard about. It's just those 2. So Aaron, tell us all of the disrespect. We want to know. We want to kind of be able to understand where you're coming from. But if it's only those two events, we don't agree. We don't agree with you, Aaron Rodgers, making this big of a stink over it. Because they didn't get you help? What more help do you need? You went 13-3. You need to protect the defensive side of the ball. You're not on defense. What's so hard for Aaron Rodgers to understand about that? What else is being disrespectful? Can't think of any. Haven't seen any. So, Aaron Rodgers, it's not about the money. We've known this. We've been known this. This is kind of a non-story. We do know that training camp's coming up, so you got to kind of, rekindle all the excitement about Aaron Rodgers. Is he coming? Is he not? Is he going to hold out? When does he show? We don't know. So, I get it, but it was never about the money. And Adam Schefter just comes with this tweet out of nowhere saying that he declined the offer. So that's where we're at with Aaron Rodgers. Still not about the money, still about respect and being disrespected. We just don't know how in-depth that disrespect goes. Alrighty, let's kind of have some updates on what we were talking about yesterday on the show. We were talking about free agents and Melvin Ingram, the defensive end, going to visit the Steelers, even though, NFL.com wrote that, the best fit for him would have been the Chiefs. Well, what do you know? He ends up signing with the Steelers yesterday. So the Steelers are signing former Chargers Pro Bowl defensive end Melvin Ingram to a deal. And the hope is that Ingram can be the replacement opposite of TJ Watt. So once again, this Steelers defense is going to be very, very solid. It was great last season, fell off at the back end of the season because of injuries. Everybody's healthy this year, and they just once again beefed up their defensive line. Defensive edge rushers pressuring the quarterback, and now you have two elite ones, Melvin Ingram and TJ Watt, two great, excellent pass rushers, once again making it a little bit easier for Big Ben in the offense overall. If the defense can, force great field position for the offense, Big Ben doesn't have to go deep as often, and Najee Harris can, rile off a couple of 10-yard runs, and they get the touchdowns within like 2 minutes of the drive, no problem. So defense leaves the good offense, and they got a good defense once again mounting here in Pittsburgh. So we can still buy this Pittsburgh team a great landing here spot for Melvin Ingram and the Steelers. The defense is going to be great, but not only did they go out and get a defensive end, they also got what we talked about yesterday on the show. They went and kind of beefed up their line a little bit, their offensive line. We saw that, they had 4 new offensive linemen coming in this year for the Steelers, and we're kind of seeing. Well, we were kind of going to wait and see if the Steelers were going to get a free agent offensive lineman early in training camp. We said that would tell us that, they're really not 100% sold on their line, or do they do it at the end of training camp just to make sure they have that kind of depth? You need depth. That's why we want the Rams to go out and get one of those 3 free agents that we've been talking about. But the Steelers went out and got Chaz Green, an offensive tackle, before training camp. So once again, expect a lot of kind of, rotations and a lot of experiment in training camp with this offensive line for the Steelers, just to kind of see which groups work well together, with the tackles on the left side, on the right side, working on their counterpart with the guards on the same thing, left side and right side. Do we need to flip a guard? Do we need to flip a tackle? Do we need to just kind of bench this tackle because he doesn't work overall with the offensive line and what we want to do for the running game? So that's one of our narratives that we are watching for the Steelers. We said, is Najee Harris going to be the real deal? And can the offensive line hold? And is Big Ben looking like prime Big Ben? That's what we're looking for in the training camp. So we're definitely going to be able to see that, at least with the offensive line, early on in training camp, since they went and got Chaz Green. Now, when we look at kind of, the top 100 with NFL TradeRumors.com listed as their top 100 and numbered them 1 to 100, we saw that yesterday on the show that there was 4 offensive linemen all in the top 10, but Chaz Green, they had him ranked at 80 something. Where was he at? Chaz Green, number 80. So did they get the best one? Maybe the best fit overall, but still, it's still nice to have that depth in the offensive lineman on the offensive line just to, once again, help Big Ben and help the running game. So the Steelers team really can't have too many offensive linemen. That's really going to be the make it or break it for this year. Can the line protect Big Ben so he's not getting injured, not getting hurt, not getting knocked down? Because that's, once again, going to shorten Big Ben's overall lifespan this season if he's getting knocked down constantly, if he has to rely on his, throwing arm. And then, once again, Najee Harris, he's ready to kind of make instant production, huge instant production here for the Steelers team, but he needs a solid line, just a decent line to get him up into that second level where he can go and do his own thing of making everybody miss, getting the nice cuts in and out, and taking it to the house and taking the top off the defense. So the Steelers, two big signings that we can, once again, buy the Steelers team even more, bump this, Steelers team up maybe 5 to 10 credit points overall, and how we're kind of overall grading all the teams and who we're putting a lot of stake into, who we're really kind of confident and ready to bet come week 1. Bump the Steelers up about 10 more points here off these two real great free agent signings yesterday. So the Steelers are still making moves, ready to get rocking and rolling when training camp starts for them later next week. Alrighty, let's move on to this. Ryan Fitzpatrick, he sees the opportunity in Washington as, quote, the best situation he's ever been in. Okay, Ryan, maybe a couple subtle digs, a little kind of, underlying jabs here to everybody else, because we know that this man has been basically to every single franchise in the NFL because he's kind of this career backup. So before we go into this article and see what Ryan Fitzpatrick is saying, let's just kind of look at Ryan Fitzpatrick's overall history on where he's been and what he's played for and what he's done, because he says this is kind of, the best team he's been with. What's the quote? The best situation he's been with. So let's kind of look at the seasons where he played like the majority of the games, like more than 12 or more, a full 16-game season. We're not going to take the years that he only played like 8 games or anything like that. But let's see the seasons that he played. Basically, the entire season, was the main man out there, and let's see what the overall team was looking like, because calling the Washington the best fit, you just played with the Dolphins a couple, the last 2 seasons with a good defense, not the best offense. You played with the Bills. You played with the Jets. So let's see what these teams were looking like. So let's go back to 2008. He ended up playing 12 games. Went 4-7-1. Unfortunately, not the best record out there. But who was on this Bengals team? Anybody good offensively? We had Cedric Benson, running back, 747, never the greatest runner. Wide receivers, they had TJ Houshmandzadeh, real solid, and then Chad Johnson, once again, real solid. But that was really it. Defensive-wise, what do they got? Jonathan Joseph, Leon Hall. That's really it. So, yeah, that Bengals team was really nothing great in 2008. Let's take the 2011 and 2012 Bills, folks. Both, he was the starter there for the 2 seasons, played 16 games, and went 6-10 every year for that 2-year stretch. So, let's see what the Bills team was looking like in 2011. Their head coach was Chan Gailey. That's absolutely trash. That man can't coach, folks. He's not a good coach. He's not a good offense coordinator. I don't know why. He only does 6-10. He's 6-10 and 8-8. That's the man's legacy in the NFL. Nothing ever great. So the coach right off the rip was trash there. What do we have weapons-wise offensively? They had Fred Jackson. He rushed for 934 yards that year. C.J. Spiller as well, 561 yards. It's a pretty good, solid running back by committee. They had Steve Johnson, 1,000 yards, and that was really it. They only had really one good wide receiver. They had Donald Jones as their wide receiver 2, who only caught 200 yards. Defensive-wise, what do we got? Anything good? Terrence McGee, Jarius Byrd. That's really it. That was really it. So once again, not the greatest Bills team, leading them to 6-10. What about the next year? Did they kind of upgrade their team the following year? Chan Gailey was still the head coach. Really unfortunate. 6-10 again. They have C.J. Spiller still. No Fred Jackson, but C.J. Spiller went for 1,200 yards. We had Steve Johnson, once again, for 1,000 yards. Once again, still no real great wide receiver 2 with Donald Jones only catching 443 yards. Tight ends, they had TJ Graham and Scott Chandler. Scott Chandler caught for 500 yards. Solid. Defensive-wise, now we're talking defense. We got Mario Williams, Marcel Darius, Kyle Williams. Very great defensive line. They had Aaron Williams, Stephon Gilmore finally. Jarius Byrd still. So, real solid defense and a little bit of a better offense, but unfortunately no upgrade in wins. Not the greatest. All right, what else do we get here? Then he plays a full 16-game season with the Jets in 2015. What was this Jets team looking like? They had Todd Bowles as their head coach. Was this Todd Bowles' first year with the Jets? Let's see. Yes, it was his first year with the Jets, first full year, and they go 10-6, solid record. Unfortunately, still missing the playoffs. Let's see what this offensive weapons was like. They had Chris Ivory as the running back, rushing for 1,000 yards. They had Eric Decker and Brandon Marshall as their wide receivers, real solid. Both caught for 1,000+ yards. Brandon Marshall with 1,500, absolutely great there. Tight end, we had Jeff Cumberland and Kellen Davis that were absolutely garbage. None even caught for 100 yards. Defensively, well, they had the defensive-minded head coach. Now, for their defense, they had Muhammad Wilkinson, Leonard Williams, Sheldon Richardson, Demario Davis, Kelvin Price, Antonio Cromartie, Darrell Revis, Kelvin Pryor. Oh, my God, that's an elite defense right there, folks. But once again, only, unfortunately, 10-6 season, man. So that was, honestly, that's the best team that we've seen Ryan Fitzpatrick have so far. 2015 Jets, that's a real solid team. A little underperforming at 10-6. Then the following year, with the Jets still playing 11 games, went 3-8 in that span, not the greatest. And then the last kind of full reign season was 2019 with the Dolphins, and he went 5-8. So once again, nothing great, but let's see what this Dolphins roster was looking like. We had Brian Flores, he first-year head coach, so that's really great. He's a real solid one. All right, offensive pieces, we had Kellen Ballage, absolutely trash. That man can't play. Our wide receivers, Allen Hurns, not the greatest. Devontae Parker, he caught for 1,200 yards, real solid, but once again, not the most reliable. A lot of injuries. And then we had Preston Williams, and then our tight end, Durham Smith. So, once again, no real great weapons for Ryan Fitzpatrick to work with. Our defense was real solid. We had Davin Godshaw, Christian Wilkins, Xavier Howard, Jerome Baker, Nick Needham, Eric Rowe, and Bobby McCain. So real solid defense there, but no real weapons for Ryan Fitzpatrick to work with. So really, the bar is not that high for Ryan Fitzpatrick to say that Washington is the best situation that he's ever been in. The 2015 Jets, I would probably say, is the best overall team. And once again, he went 10-6. So what can we truly expect from this Washington team this season? Maybe maxing out at 10-6. But let's see what Ryan Fitzpatrick is saying in this article. Why does he say this is the best situation? Is it the pieces? Let's bring up this Washington depth chart really quickly, just so we have, once again, the all the pieces, right names, all of that. So he's working with Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissick as their running backs, Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Adam Humphries as their weapons, wide receiver-wise, and then Logan Thomas as their tight end. And then their defense, Chase Young, Jonathan Allen, Kendall Fuller, Landon Collins. We'll see if Kareem Curl and William Jackson are solid this year. So the defense, I don't know if this Washington defense was better than that Jets 2015 defense, folks. It's going to be tough, but let's see what Ryan Fitzpatrick is saying now here. Here we go. So, if you told the average NFL fan in the late 2000s that Ryan Fitzpatrick, the 250th overall pick of the 2005 draft, would still be in the NFL as a starting quarterback in 2021, you'd rightfully be treated with skepticism. Well, he's not the starting quarterback just quite yet. Let's relax. Taylor Heineke can potentially maybe win the starting job here in training camp. I don't think it's kind of fair to give Ryan Fitzpatrick the starting job just quite yet here in Washington. I do think it is leaning more towards Ryan Fitzpatrick. I would say it's probably 60-40, maybe even 65-35 that Ryan Fitzpatrick wins the starting job just kind of going into training camp, but I'm not ready to kind of, give him the starting role just quite yet. So NFL.com, slow your roll a little bit. Who wrote this article? Nick Shook. Slow your roll a little bit. This is an open quarterback competition. We know this. those listening might have even run you out of the room. But fear not, time traveling reader, Fitzpatrick is in fact in the NFL in 2021 as a starter. I don't think so. He hasn't been named the starter, folks. We keep track of every story every single day. He has not been named the starter, folks. Nick Shook, relax. If he's not the starter come week 1, we're coming back to this article and calling out Nick Shook. I've got no problem doing that, folks. All right, so Fitzpatrick is in fact in the NFL in 2021 as a starter, and he believes his position with Washington might be his most promising in years. Quote, "This is the best situation I've ever been in, or the best situation that I've ever gone into as the guy." So is he? Why is everyone talking about like Ryan Fitzpatrick is already the automatic starting quarterback here? Has he been named? I haven't seen him be named. Ryan Fitzpatrick is even saying, "Hey, I'm the guy." Oh, are you? Who said that? Because if you were just listening to Nick Shook, that's not a reliable source. I talked to Ron Rivera. Let me take a quick Google here. Has there been an official announcement? June 3rd, Washington Post says Washington has a clear starting quarterback. Do they? So nobody's really come out and said this. There's no news. June 11th, Ron Rivera says Washington football team will have open quarterback competition for the starting job. Why is everyone talking like it's Ryan Fitzpatrick? Give Taylor Heineke some respect. Give this man a chance. He went toe-to-toe with Brady. Give this man a chance. He at least deserves a chance. Don't write this man off. Ryan Fitzpatrick, maybe you're getting a little bit too big for your britches over there. We know that, a lot of the wide receivers for Washington were like, whoa, Ryan Fitzpatrick, yeah, we gotta like it. I get that. But until Ron Rivera says it, I'm not going to say it. So a lot of certainties being thrown around here in Washington. I'm not loving it. Dial it back, everybody. Dial it back. All right, but back to the quote here. Quote, "I signed to be the starter in Houston. I signed to be the starter in Miami. So this is now the third team that I've signed to come in and be the starter for. Once again, slow your roll." Jeez, I just feel the way that I'm playing the last 4 years, kind of the progression of my career, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense that 17 years in, physically, I feel great. Mentally, emotionally, I'm in the right spot. I just think I am set up for success this year and really looking forward to it. So you are set up for decent success here. You do have decent weapons all around you. You've got some fast, speedy weapons. You got the speed, you got the height, and different weapons around the field. So that's definitely going to help Ryan Fitzpatrick. But once again, him saying, the way that I've been playing the last 4 years, it's still nothing great by Ryan Fitzpatrick. He is a backup. He is a career kind of 500 backup. We know this. 4-3 last season, getting us out to a slow start, losing the first 2 games, and then the miraculous, Raiders win when you got the face mask and you just launched the bomb and it was a completion, so we'll give you credit. But once again, these kind of circumstances of how he's winning the game and how he's looking throughout the entire game, and a lot of interceptions, not the greatest completion percentage. I just can't buy Ryan Fitzpatrick as a whole. He is, if he has to come in and fill in for 1 or 2 games mid-season, I have a lot of faith in Ryan Fitzpatrick to go out and win those games. But if I have to rely on him to be the starter for 16 straight weeks, I don't buy into it. I don't think he's an overall winning quarterback in this league. He's not going to take you to the playoffs. On a solid team that has a solid defense, he gets you to 10-6, missing the playoffs. Unfortunate. That was his best year, folks. 2015. Solid weapons, real great defense, and a defensive-minded head coach, and you go 10-6 with 59% completion percentage, real trash, 3,900 yards, which is real solid, 31 touchdowns and 15 interceptions, which is once again just real solid. It's nothing great. It's not bad. It's solid work out there. But it leads to a 10-6 season, not making the playoffs. Not great. So Ryan Fitzpatrick saying, he's a starter. Nick Shook saying that he's a starter. Slow your roll. Taylor Heineke just kind of, small sample size, but real solid. Went toe-to-toe with Brady, one possession away from beating Tom Brady, and then we don't get Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl. We could have thanked Taylor Heineke for that, folks. How crazy would that have been? So, I don't know, man. I don't buy Ryan Fitzpatrick. I just don't. I've seen him play. I don't like the way he plays. I think his kind of Fitz magic clouds everybody's judgment. Yes, those are great games to watch and look back on and, watch and just, have fun watching, Ryan Fitzpatrick come from behind and make miraculous throws. But when we're betting, when we're rooting, when we're just trying to see what is good in this league, Ryan Fitzpatrick is just not good in this league, folks. I'm sorry to break it to y'all, but he's just not. We see his record, his career record, trash, and I know he's a career backup, so he's never having that full training camp as a starter and all that. But even when he did that with the Bills, that's what we're saying. It was kind of still not the greatest with the Jets, not the greatest out there. His career record, folks, is 59, 86, and 1. He even tied a game. How do you do a tie? You're the backup. Go out and win it or lose it. Don't tie the game. What are we doing? Well, what else do we get here by Ryan Fitzpatrick? Here we go. A Ron Rivera-led club can tend to have such a positive impact on a player, especially one like Fitzpatrick, who is now on his 9th team and has seen more than his fair share of struggling franchises in his career. That is true. Ron Rivera is probably the best head coach that Ryan Fitzpatrick has played for. That is probably true. So once again, we could probably buy Ryan Fitzpatrick a little bit more than we initially do buy him, just because he does have Ron Rivera. If anything, those experiences have taught Fitzpatrick to embrace any chance he gets moving forward, both on and off the field. Quote, the other major point in my career when there was a transition was after my year in 2016 with the Jets, which was miserable, and the first time in my life I hated football and just didn't want to play anymore. Leave it to the Jets, folks. The second year was Todd Bowles too. Jeez, unfortunate. Since then, it's almost like I've been playing on borrowed time. The last 4, I've really been able to enjoy. Hopefully, everybody has been able to see that for me on the field. For some of the goofy stuff in the interviews, my personality has really come out in the last 4. But the play is still not the greatest. Not what we want for a starting quarterback. Backup quarterback, like we said, backup quarterback, that's fine. Not a starting quarterback. Just take a look at his emergency insertions down the stretch of Miami's 2020 season. As Fitzpatrick will point out with his brand of humor, he wasn't on ice. He was just recharged. Quote here by Ryan Fitzpatrick. Quote, it was rested. It wasn't cold. It was fresh. I played in the Denver game. Then I played in the Vegas game. All the while knowing that I felt good. The arm was rested. It was ready to go in both games. But especially in that Vegas game, I proved to myself that I could come out of the stands in 5 years and come and play in the NFL and be successful. So that was a win for me last year. So, yeah, the arm was fresh. We know Ryan Fitzpatrick is 38. We know Big Ben is 39, having a little bit of arm issues. So that's another thing that, Washington has to be careful of. If we start Ryan Fitzpatrick week 1, how is the arm going to be looking week 16? He's 38. What if we have a real chance to, make a deep playoff run, but we can't with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and then we have to go to Taylor Heineke, who hasn't played this entire year, and rely on him? How is that going to fare? So there is just kind of a standpoint where they just use Ryan Fitzpatrick as a pure backup this season just to kind of preserve that arm if they do need it. Taylor Heineke just not getting it done. They kind of, remove him from the starting lineup week 8. Now you have Ryan Fitzpatrick take out those last 8 games, and then if they do get into the playoffs, the arm is still a little fresh for Ryan Fitzpatrick to carry out a potential magic playoff run that we've seen Nick Foles do. So I don't give Ryan Fitzpatrick the starting job, folks. I don't. Nick Shook is. He's not the head coach. So we'll see what Ron Rivera decides, but can't get behind Ryan Fitzpatrick being the starting guy. I just don't. Now back to the original question. Is this the best situation that he's ever been in? with the overall coach and the overall weapon and just the culture there in Washington, I would say, yeah, this is probably his best fit. The 2015 Jets was probably best fit number 2. 2019 Dolphins, maybe best fit number 3. The 2012 Bills? 2015? 2011, 2012 Bills, maybe 4th best fit, just because he had Chan Gailey. So we'll see what Ryan Fitzpatrick does. Obviously, I'll root for the man. I'm not actively going against the man. It's just I know what I need to see for a winning team, and I don't know if Ryan Fitzpatrick is the guy. A lot of turnovers. Alrighty. Let's keep moving on here. And this is something that we've talked about a lot here on the folks, but once again, it's getting reiterated, and we'll get another perspective, and we'll see if it's kind of, once again, just something that we do buy into. So Russell Gage, wide receiver for the Falcons, says, even without Julio Jones, Falcons have, quote, a lot of depth at the wide receiver position, which we absolutely know. Calvin Ridley's fantastic. Russell Gage is real solid, and then their tight ends of Hayden Hurst and newly acquired draftee Kyle Pitts. That's all we need to mother-loving see, folks. Fantastic. So this man just went on Good Morning Football yesterday, and let's see what Russell Gage is saying. So Gage noted that the entire wideout room is deeper than most of the public believes. We've been saying this, folks. We've been saying this. This Falcons team is not going to get hurt by not having Julio Jones. They're not. And now we have a solid offensive coordinator here, turned head coach. I think he's going to work out. He was the offensive coordinator for the Titans the last 2 seasons. Now he's a head coach for the Falcons. And if that kind of, transition, that's why we like offensive-minded head coaches, because the point of the game is to score the most points, not to hold the other team to less points than you. So that's why we do like offensive-minded head coaches, and that's why we think this Falcons team is truly going to take off. Dan Quinn, a little bit more of a defensive-minded head coach. That's why he's now with the Cowboys on their defensive coordinator. So we really think this Falcons team is going to be great. Couple that with, great wide receivers. Couple that with Matt Ryan, who we do still believe is probably tier 1 quarterback in this league still. And pair that with the offensive-minded head coach that made Ryan Tannehill work. So I would probably upgrade Matt Ryan over Ryan Tannehill. I'd probably say that. So let's see what Russell Gage is saying here. Quote, we have a lot of depth at the wide receiver position. We've always had that. It's just that it isn't just people like me or people like Calvin that you may know or already know about. We've got people like Olamide, Zacchaeus, Christian Blake. We've got depth all around the board. That duo could come from any combination of receivers. That's one of the reasons why you shouldn't sleep on us. Alrighty, let's see what these other wide receivers are doing, because we haven't really talked about. I can't even pronounce this one man's name. Apologize. Olamide Zacchaeus. But let's see what they're doing. Are they tall? Are they fast? Are they quick? Are they getting those yards? Let's see what we got here for those other two wide receivers. So here we go. Olamide Zacchaeus. Let me see if I can get a pronunciation on this name. See if I can quickly get a pronunciation on the name. Not going to be able to do that. Unfortunate. All right. So, what did he do last season? 274 yards. He's going into his 3rd season, and he's only 5'8". All right, so that's not hugely great. Never, obviously when you're going behind Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley, you're not going to be the main man out there. So, not a lot of yards, 389 yards in the last 2 years, not getting a lot of burn. Okay. But the size is a little concerning. And then the other one he said was Christian Blake. Alrighty, what they got here? Christian Blake, 141 yards last season, 6'1", solid there. We do like that. He's going into his 3rd season. But they also have Taji Sharp as well. Once again, real solid option in my opinion. He's 6'4", absolutely love it. Did not play last season, unfortunate. but could try to do something here in Atlanta with the Tennessee Titans for 3 seasons. He had 500 yards, 300 yards, 300 yards. But once again, when you're kind of, the third in rotation, you're not going to get a lot of burn. But if you're 6'4", I'll give you some work. I'll give you some burn. Let's go get it done. So overall, this Falcons team does have some solid depth here. Obviously, the 2 big ones, Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage. And then Russell Gage is gushing over Olamide, Zaccheaus, and Christian Blake, while we are gushing over Tajae Sharpe, 6'4". Get that man some catches. All right. Let's see what else this man's got to say. Gage knows without Jones there is more on his plate entering a contract year. Quote, moving forward, I always try to figure out what they want or what they want out of me for one. That's the best way, I think, to get and make the best successful team moving forward. Obviously, as I spoke earlier, Coach Arthur Smith has high expectations for all of us. He's told me he's impressed with me, with what I'm able to do and the things I'm able to contribute to. Obviously, third down was a big role for me last year, and that's something that's not going to change. With Julio gone, there's gonna be some of that load that needs to be put on me. It's not just me, it's the whole receiving staff. All of us are gonna have to help fill Julio because that's such a big shoe to fill. But moving forward, I understand that my role and stuff may increase, but my preparation, like I said, it's not going to change. The man wants all the work, all the smoke he can get. Gage played all 3 of his professional seasons with Jones after being drafted in the 6th round out of LSU. The 25-year-old credits his improvements to learning under Julio. Quote, it was kind of sad. I learned so much from him. When I first arrived in Atlanta, I think I've learned more from him than in a few years than I learned in my whole career. Julio is such an impactor, such a huge playmaker. He's going to be a legend, probably going to be in the Hall of Fame. I couldn't learn more from anybody. He's a great person. I think he's elevated everyone's game, everyone around him, whether you're offense or defense. You watch the separation, you watch the way he prepares for the game, just everything. I'm extremely grateful to have played alongside somebody like that. It's something that's going to always stick with me. So, once again, we could buy this Falcons team. Fantastic. Russell Gage knows his production's going to go up, and he's ready for it. Calvin Ridley knows his production is going to go up and he's ready for it. Arthur Smith is already having big expectations on these guys. They are not kind of, going to settle for a step back of what they did last season offensively. It's only step forwards and trying to get this Atlanta team back to the Super Bowl, where hopefully if they do get back, they can kind of close it out. So this Falcons team is deep, folks, and according to Russell Gage, watch out for Olamide, Zaccheaus, and Christian Blake. We'll see if they got the goods to kind of keep up with these 2 superstars already of Calvin Ridley and Russell Gage, but they're also going to have to compete with touches from freaking Kyle Pitts, because that man's going to be, folks, we can't talk more highly about that man. We can't. He's just absolutely fantastic. Alrighty, let's keep moving on here. Now, we've got training camp coming up this week, like we know. But what I also kind of want to take a quick look at is that at the joint practice schedules. Now, 2 teams usually practice together during the training camp when they kind of face each other during the preseason. So the 2 teams will come together, get another look at kind of a different team, see what they can do differently, and just seeing what's working ahead of their preseason game. They usually don't face in the regular season as well, so they have no kind of problem, sharing their secrets, sharing their kind of intel, and just kind of seeing what they can kind of do against real other teams, against kind of other skillful positions. Maybe your team lacks a great corner and your quarterback is just picking on that corner throughout practice, but then you go and join another team's practice that has a better corner, and then you get a better read of your quarterback based on what he's doing against another elite corner out there. So we had the joint practice schedule up here. So let's see, is there any combination of teams that can learn from one another, and maybe will get better just from their sheer learning aspect from the other team that they're jointly practicing in. Because guys are going to talk, guys are going to train. We saw all the kind of tight ends get together and not kind of hold anything back. They're letting each other pick their brain because they want the position to succeed. They want to see everybody get better. Even though they'll be facing each other this season, they have no problems having their tight ends get a little bit better. So we're going to have, the same kind of mental standpoint at these joint practices, trying to get everybody better, trying to improve your game by kind of, improving, the wide receiver's game. The cornerback is going to try to, have the wide receiver get better, so the wide receiver in turn makes the cornerback better, right? That line of thinking is not crazy, correct? So here we go. Joint practice schedule. We got the Rams with the Cowboys. Dan Quinn, you better be taking notes from the Rams defensive coordinator and what that Rams defense does. So that could definitely help out the Cowboys a little bit. We get the Broncos and the Vikings. They're really not going to be able to learn anything from each other, honestly. Two really not great teams overall. Broncos are still searching for their quarterback. We got the Dolphins and the Bears. Ooh, we get Justin Fields learning from Tua a little bit. I love it. Tua's got something to offer, folks, the accuracy. Justin Fields, go work on your accuracy with Tua, and, you'll be the week 1 starter in no time. We get the Panthers and the Colts. The Colts aren't learning anything from the Panthers, from Matt Rule, from Sam Darnold. Frank Reich and Carson Wentz are fine. They don't need to learn anything from Matt Rule. Maybe Matt Rule can learn a little bit from Frank Reich on how to just be a good head coach. We'll see. We get the Patriots and the Eagles. Alrighty. Maybe Jalen Hurts can learn a little bit from Cam Newton. Cam Newton's been a vet in this league. Maybe pick his brain a little bit. Jalen Hurts, a little bit of a dual threat quarterback. Obviously not the same size as Cam Newton. Cam Newton 6'5", 250. Big old beef out there. So yeah, we'll see what the Eagles do. Maybe Nick Sirianni learn a little bit from Bill Belichick on how to run a team, run a practice. We'll see. We get the Falcons and the Dolphins. So the Falcons doing 2 different ones. Getting familiar with the Bears before their preseason game, and getting familiar with the Falcons before their preseason game. All right. So what can the Falcons learn? Well, we got 2 tight end university participants here, Kyle Pitts and Mike Gesicki. So maybe they can kind of once again get in some work together. Tua and Matt Ryan. We get Arthur Smith with Brian Flores. Solid there. So really can't learn too much there. Both have not good running backs, so the running backs can't even kind of get better there, unfortunately. We get the Ravens and the Panthers. Once again, the Panthers, you're not learning anything from that team. It's going to be a bad team. They got Christian McCaffrey. Learn how to stop him. That's what y'all need to look out for. Then we get the Rams in their second kind of joint practice, learning with the Raiders. Once again, John Gruden. Look at how Sean McVay works. Look at how a true coach works in this league, because I'm not buying John Gruden. We get the Jets and the Packers and Robert Saleh. You can definitely learn on how toxic a locker room and kind of team can be when you've got a disgruntled quarterback. So maybe try to treat Zach Wilson real special there with the Jets, and it's kind of seeming like that relationship's already out to a good start. So that's going to be interesting there for the Packers and the Jets. We get the Titans and the Bucks, and this could be real good. This Titans defense needs to be A1, Tier 1 if this Titans team wants a chance to win the Super Bowl. And what better defense to learn from than the defending Super Bowl champions and Todd Bowles and the defense that is returning all of its starters. So this Titans team maybe kind of takes some of those defensive schemes from the Bucks, and that could definitely help this Titans team overall. So of all the matchups, the joint practice kind of matchups that we've talked about so far, this Titans-Bucks one, I think it's the best for this Titans team. Go out there, pick the brain, Ryan Tannehill, learn a little bit from Tom Brady. Obviously, that will never hurt, but truly, this Bucs defense is A1, Tier 1, probably the best defense going into this season, just overall roster-wise and coaching-wise. So hopefully, this Titans team can learn a little bit now that we're knowing this Titans team is going a little bit through a little bit of a defensive rebuild. So hopefully, they can learn a lot from this Bucs team. That's going to be huge for that Titans team. We get the Giants and the Browns. All right, we get a nice little kind of running back summit there with Saquon Barkley and Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. That's going to be great. Daniel Jones learning a little bit from Baker Mayfield, how to be a game manager and all that. We get the 49ers and the Chargers. Probably not learning too much from each other. Maybe the Chargers' new head coach can learn from Kyle Shanahan. And how to win in the regular season and in the playoffs, but don't get any advice in the Super Bowl. He blows the lead, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, maybe Justin Herbert, teaching Trey Lance a little bit. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be totally out of the conversation. Don't take anything he says. But, yeah, nothing too much to take away from there. We get the Jags and the Saints. Well, Urban Meyer, you better just be right behind Sean Payton, whatever he does, learning and listening and seeing how to actually be a good head coach in this league, because we know Urban Meyer is not. Unfortunate. Maybe the quarterbacks here, Trevor Lawrence and Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill, could all kind of get together and learn a little bit. Obviously, they're all not the greatest or unproven at the quarterback position, but Jameis threw for 5,000 yards, so I would learn a little bit from him and see how much his mentorship and just overall Jameis's leadership has changed under Drew Brees. So the main thing is just Urban Meyer learns from Sean Payton, really. Then we get the Eagles and the Jets. Yeah, Robert Saleh and Nick Sirianni, new head coaches. Jalen Hurts, year 2 quarterback. Zach Wilson, year 1 quarterback. Nothing you can really learn from each other there. And then the final one, the Giants and the Patriots. The Giants head coach, Joe Judge, was the special teams coordinator for the Patriots. So you reunite. That's really all you're learning. So the Titans, you have the best opportunity to learn from your other team. Please go out and do it, because I do want to see Derrick Henry get a ring. And the only way he gets a ring is if the Titans defense is a shutdown defense and allows, once again, Ryan Tannehill to be an above average game manager and allows Derrick Henry just to go wild and run wild whenever he wants. So Titans learn from the best defense in the game here. August 18th through the 19th, so 2 days before their it's a 2-day joint practice before their preseason game. Titans defense, learn from the best, please. Alrighty, let's quickly talk about this. We can go over these last couple of stories quickly here, since we're going a little late on the stories. But here we go. Peyton and Eli Manning will headline a Monday Night Football megacast on ESPN2 and ESPN Plus for 3 seasons through the next 3 years. ESPN will produce it in conjunction with Peyton Manning's Omaha Productions. It is slated for 10 games each season starting this year. So we're kind of getting this new transition into the NFL of just commentary-wise, of just kind of ex-players talking through the game. Obviously, Tony Romo, kind of the front runner here. He's the one that, doesn't do the traditional analytic role, will kind of predict plays, tell you what he's seeing, tell you what the quarterback should be seeing, tell you what the play most likely is based on the formation and where the ball should be going, all that. And it's just good, lighthearted fun. I think it definitely adds an extra element. We do have kind of Tony Romo as one of our top tier analysts that we like to listen to. Usually we listen to every single game on mute, but if it's a Tony Romo game, we will listen to his insight and all that. And then really Joe Buck, just because he knows how to call a game and knows how to, put great emphasis on big moments. Diggs. So, folks, I get chills even repeating it, even though I don't do nearly as good of a job as Joe Buck did. But so those are the really big 2 there. But now we're starting to get a lot of people trying to capitalize on this market of just kind of just talking as the game progresses and all that. So that's this kind of next step here in that kind of production of watching football or watching just really any sporting event, getting a getting a couple of people, whether ex-players or celebrities or just personalities, and you watch the game as they watch the game, and y'all watch the game, and you just kind of shoot the shit, just seeing what you're seeing, bringing back your experiences and all that, tying shit together, and not just saying, well, this guy ran for 5 yards and this is what they're doing next and all that. So we get Monday Night Football with Peyton Manning and Eli Manning. We'll see how their personalities go. We'll see, are they good? Are they as good as Tony Romo in that aspect and all that? So for the 2021 and 2022 and 2023 NFL seasons, they already signed a 3-year deal, so good for them. 10 games each season. Peyton and Eli will from a remote location. Celebrities, including iconic and current players, will join. That's where I'm not the biggest fan of bringing in celebrities. We'll see. I don't really need that when I'm watching football. I don't even know if I need Peyton Manning and Eli Manning shooting the shit. I don't know if I need that. I'll probably check it out for one game, but I'll probably just go to the regular broadcast for the rest. But we'll give it a chance to see what they can do. The new Monday Night Football megacast offering airs on ESPN2, potential distribution across Disney properties, including ESPN Plus. Complement traditional telecasts on ESPN and or ABC each week. Steve Levy, Brian Greasy, Louis Riddick, Lisa Salters, and John Perry, and it's produced in conjunction with Omaha Productions. And I also believe that I read they're going to be alternating every week. So one week is going to be Peyton Manning, one week is going to be Eli, the other week is Peyton. They just keep alternating back and forth. They're never really going to be there together. So we'll see how it goes. Tony Romo's got the entire game shook, changing the industry, so you give Tony Romo his credit. But we'll see if they make it good. I mean, if they're making it entertaining, making it worthwhile, giving us that great insight, we'll have no problem watching it. But we'll see if they are good at that. All right, then we get this, and we follow this just because it's real kind of weird, the timing. This is supposed to be the Raiders' year, finally. 4 years under John Gruden. Let's see what you're doing. Derek Carr stepping it up. They've got the running back. They've got the wide receivers. The defense is real solid as well. This was supposed to be the year for the Raiders, but we just saw the running backs coach resign, and he's been in the league for 20-plus years, coaching some of the greats that we've talked about. Real interesting that he decides to do it this year. Like we said, this is supposed to be their year, so why is everybody bailing out? And now the newest bailout's pretty big here. Raiders president Mark Bedane resigns. You're resigning in a year where this is supposed to be it. This is supposed to be the year. You're supposed to win the Super Bowl this year. It's all supposed to come together this year. Your 10-year plan of signing John Gruden to a 10-year contract is finally going to be paying off this year. But everybody's jumping ship. Real interesting. The timing right before training camp. Once again, why didn't you do this in the in the off season, right after the season ended? That would have made a little bit more sense if you were truly planning on retiring. But maybe the running backs coach, maybe the president got to look at this team and was like, this isn't it. It's never going to be it. I'm jumping ship before this really just crashes and burns and sinks down into the bottom of the ocean. I'm getting out right before it. So once again, we want to buy this Raiders team, but everything that we're seeing is really kind of leaving bad taste in our mouth. Why are all these people resigning and retiring? So, read into this as much as you want. We're trying not to read into this too much. I mean, I'm ready to jump ship. If everybody's jumping ship, you think me, a little fan that commentates on the sport, I'm going to stay on the ship? No. I'm reading the signs on the wall, the writing on the wall. I'm getting out. I'm jumping ship. I'm this close, folks. We're kind of out of 100, like 100 points that I would kind of put into rooting and betting and getting behind and cheering for this Raiders team. Going into all these resignations and retirings, I was about 60 out of 100, but now I'm down to like 40 out of 100, folks, and I'm ready to be out of 0. Darren Waller will make me leave like 10% buying into this Raiders team. That's it. Maybe Derek Carr, an extra 2 to 5%. So I'm maxed out at 15% if I truly jump ship. But if, so help us, gosh, if one more inside person here of the Raiders retires or resigns, we are 100% out, and we'll be left with that 10 to 15% of just betting on Darren Waller and Derek Carr to get it done somehow. But I'm not liking that everybody is jumping ship. The president, folks, the president of the Raiders is jumping ship. The running backs coach that has a great running back by committee. Josh Jacobs is the running back 1. Kenyon Drake is a solid, great running back 2, and he's jumping ship. Why? We got to ask why. It's John Gruden. That's what we think. So, not looking good here for the Raiders, folks. Real bad signs here entering into training camp. This is not great. Alrighty, let's keep going here. Here we go. And we can kind of, once again, we have to decide, is Bill Belichick good? Is he a good head coach? The narrative, now that Tom Brady's not good and not having a good season last year, but we'll give him an extra season. Can we buy Bill Belichick? We get this little quote right here. Patrick Chung says telling Bill Belichick he was retiring was, quote, the hardest conversation I've had in a while. And he said, quote, I felt like I was letting him down. So, we know people love playing for Bill Belichick. We know people love playing for this Patriots organization, even though all the kind of outside media noise is, there's no fun with the Patriots and it's all business. And, yeah, you're winning rings, but you're not having fun. So is it worth it? And, Bill Belichick gets on you and he's a strict head coach. And, you still need to have fun in this league, and Bill Belichick is no fun, so why would you want to play for the Patriots? And is he a good head coach? Because Tom Brady won year one without him, so was it all Brady? Was it Bill Belichick? So we get all of this, but once again, that's kind of from the media perspective, from what their narratives that they push. But once again, we hear Cam Newton instantly year one, even though that he may have not been the starter this season or really may not have even been back, he was always praising Bill Belichick, saying that this man is truly the real deal. He knows what he's talking about, and you have to start respecting this man a lot more than what y'all have really been doing. And now we get Patrick Chung, who just retired. We get that quote. So let's see what Patrick Chung was saying here about Bill Belichick. Let's see if we get a nice little insight on truly how it goes getting coached by Billy B. So longtime New England Patriots safety Patrick Chung retired back in March after sitting out of the 2020 season. After spending 10 years with Bill Belichick, Chung said recently that the hardest part of retiring might have been letting his coach know he wasn't returning. Quote, I just went and talked to Bill. That was probably the hardest conversation I've had in a while. I respect him. He respects me. It's more than player to coach with me and Bill. I felt like I was letting him down, but it was something I had to do for my family and me. Truly unfortunate. Retiring is never an easy decision. This is what you've been doing your entire life, and now your life has completely changed, and now you're left with this missing hole in you that you got to get filled somehow. All right, so a second-round pick by Belichick in 2009. Chung spent all of one of his 11 years with the Patriots. We began season in Philly in 2013. The hard-hitting safety won 3 Super Bowls with the Patriots as a key chess piece in the secondary. Along with several Patriots players, Chung opted out of the 2020 season due to COVID-19 concerns. Chung said after missing the season, he woke up one spring morning and realized he was done with his NFL career. Part owner of the New England Patriots Free Jacks of Major League Rugby, Chung will remain a fan of his former team. The 33-year-old said he was honored that second-year safety Kyle Duggar called to ask if he could wear Chung's number 23. Quote, that's a huge respect. A lot of people don't have to ask. If it's open, take it. For him to call and ask when he didn't have to, I appreciated that. He asked me for the number, and I said, yeah, absolutely. I told him to take it over. I pray to God he's way better than I am, because that's only going to help us as Patriots. Hopefully he gets to that point. I hope he can. He's young. He's raw. He has those instincts. He has all the intangibles, so I'm praying for that. So that's all we get. I was kind of hoping for something a little bit better here about Billy B, but just that kind of level of respect, and hard to kind of say, hey, I'm leaving. Hard to kind of go to your boss and be like, hey, it's been great, man, and I truly don't want to leave, but it's right for my family. It's right. I feel like I'm letting you down, and just that level of respect, folks. So everybody's still respecting Bill Belichick and, loves playing for him. And, like we said, he kind of spent his entire career there in New England, just one season with Philly, but coming right back to New England. People like playing. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's discipline. Yeah, it's not always fun, but you're winning, and that will make not fun days better at the end of the day when you're winning. So that's why you play the game, to win. That's why a lot of people play the game to win, and if you want to play the game to win, you go to Bill Belichick because he knows how to win. He's done it for 20-plus years. So got to start respecting Billy B more, folks. This is a huge year for him to try to get back to his big legacy. He drafts Mac Jones. You have Cam Newton for a second year. You could have done whatever you needed to get the quarterback that you really think you can be successful with. And these are the two weapons, the two people, the two players that he's kind of doubling down with after Brady. So you got to get it done, even regardless of how not great the quarterback or running backs or wide receivers or defense is overall. You still got to win games and prove that you can without having the greatest quarterback of all time on your team. Alrighty, let's save this for tomorrow. We can go a little bit in depth. Well, we can go over. Let's just do it today. Here we go. Broncos quarterback battle between Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater could take all 3 preseason games. Ugh. This is probably going to be the closest quarterback battle that we have. Obviously, we've got the one in Washington with Taylor Heinicke and Ryan Fitzpatrick, even though Ryan Fitzpatrick is already kind of claiming that he's the starter. We got the one here in Denver. We have the one in Chicago with Justin Fields and Andy Dalton. We have a little mini one with the 49ers with Jimmy G and Trey Lance. And that's really all of them, I believe. Those little 4, but those other 2 are just kind of, if the rookie pans out. Those are all the open quarterback competitions, yeah. Yep, those are the 4. So, we believe in Teddy Bridgewater, but what I love about this, that it could take all 3 preseason games, is that they are truly giving Teddy Bridgewater a chance here. They bring him in. Drew Lock has history, so he's kind of the easier choice to go to. Hey, he knows the system better. He's been here the last 2 years. He knows how he rolled. The wide receivers are comfortable. They build in that kind of repertoire, that kind of rhythm with them, so we're just going to go with him. But they're giving Teddy Bridgewater the entire training camp, the entire kind of 3 preseason games to kind of show what he can do. And for that, we absolutely love it, because we think that Teddy Bridgewater is just clearly better, hands down, than Drew Lock. But let's see what we get here in this article. Anything good? So a week from today, the quarterback battle in Denver kicks off in earnest when the Broncos report for training camp on July 27th. To this point, the Broncos brass has simply laid the groundwork for the competition between Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater. Before heading into summer break, Coach Vic Fangio noted that it was much too early to make any assumptions about where the quarterbacks were at in the race for the starting gig. When training camp finally opens, the evaluation will be no holds barred. NFL Network's James Palmer noted Monday on NFL Now that the Broncos believe just 2 to 3% of their quarterback assessments have taken place. Wow, that's it? During the OTAs and mandatory minicamps? Just 2 to 3%. Wow. The bulk of the eval is coming during camp practices in the preseason. Don't expect a quick decision from the Broncos brass either, quote by Palmer. This could go, to my understanding, through all 3 preseason games before they make a decision. That's where they stand right now when they look at both of these quarterbacks. So we kind of knew that this was, going to be a lengthy process, just because, you've got Teddy Bridgewater that's proven that can decently get it done year 1 on a team with the Panthers. He's got better weapons here with the Broncos than he did with the Panthers, even though the Panthers' weapons were still pretty solid overall. You've got Drew Lock, who's just kind of this maniac throwing the ball. It's never really accurate. It's never really needed. He takes too many deep shots. He kind of, is a true gunslinger. He kind of plays like a Ryan Fitzpatrick, even though this man's kind of trying to be a starter. You can't play football like Ryan Fitzpatrick if you're going to be a starter, because Ryan Fitzpatrick just lets the ball fly around, doesn't really care if he's throwing picks, because he's a career backup and knows that, hey, I'm just kind of a backup. I'm just trying to prove y'all that I can still play the game, and hey, I'm just going to go out and make those big throws because, hey, I'm a backup. I've got really nothing to prove. I've got nothing to win over. I'm a backup out here. Where Drew Lock is trying to be the starter and, slinging the ball around like he does, gets himself into a hole a little bit. Early interceptions lead to, being down in the game, and then it's just hard to come back from. So we'll see, folks. July 27th. We'll get a better insight on Teddy B. We've already seen some clips of Teddy Bridgewater throwing the ball excellently deep on the sideline, hitting some nice wide open passes. You love to see it. But now when training camp gets full going and you got a real great defense to go against, and it's real full speed and real time and against 12 players and all that, trying to earn their role, trying to stop you from earning your role. We'll see how these 2 quarterbacks, how they fare. But I think we are still big on Teddy B, and we'll see what Drew Lock can do here come the 27th. Alrighty, 2 more quick things to go over here. Here we go. Saquon Barkley, You want to keep tight-lipped, but now you're out at your camp going against kids and try to lock down kids? But you won't tell us that you're ready to rock and you're out here, guarding kids, trying to stop them from catching the ball, even though that this man scored over you. Trash. Saquon Barkley is a trash defender. But, you're having fun out here for your camp, but we can't get a little insight on the leg, on the injury coming back from the rehab. You got no timetable, but you have enough time to go for a camp and entertain some kids? Really? Really? So, Saquon, we love you. We want you to be healthy, but you'd rather run a camp than tell us when you're coming back. Okay. I don't like it. I guess I'll live with it. Saquon Barkley likes the kids more than he likes takes by fans. I guess. All right. And the last thing to go over, I don't want to kind of get too deep into this because we know this is forbidden to ever be talked about or discussed in an open and honest conversation. We know all this. But I'm not a big fan of the pressure, folks. There's a lot of pressure on it. If you don't do it, you're the devil. You're the worst thing to ever happen. And if you do it, you're the greatest thing. You're helping save the world. So, Michael Irvin rips the Cowboys for potentially missing the 85% vaccinated threshold. And that's kind of the big thing that teams are trying to achieve, being 85% vaccinated. That's kind of what the NFL kind of holds as the standard for just kind of, all right, everything is good now. We can kind of, have the entire season. The team will be fine. The kind of herd immunity, herd vaccination. They really want kind of 85%. So the Cowboys aren't there just quite yet. And Michael Irvin kind of goes off. Here's some quotes. Quote, if you're not one of them teams at least 85% vaccinated, are you really thinking about winning a championship? So just because you don't get the vaccine, you don't think they really want to win the championship? And I get why they say that, because you can, get in the health and safety protocols, but you can also still do that while being vaccinated. So what's the deal? You know what I mean? So I hate all this pressure. If you want to get it, if you don't. That's where I stand on it. Obviously, I know that's not the mainstream viewpoint. That's why we can't talk about this. And then he says this as well. Quote by Michael Irvin. Quote, somebody in the damn locker room should say, hey, man, we're going to have a chance. Are you vaccinated? This ain't the NBA. In this league, that could be it for you. The right person misses 2 weeks. That's it. Yeah, I guess. But what are we doing? I mean, people that get the vaccination are still coming out and saying that they're getting COVID. It just lessens the symptoms. That's what the vaccine does. That's what we all know it does. That's why I don't understand why everyone's having such a hard time wrapping their brain around that, you can still catch it when you get vaccinated. That was something from day one, that you knew from day one when the vaccines came out. They just lessen the symptoms. They don't hamper the spread of the COVID, because you can still get it, and we know it's highly contagious. Even the Delta variant that's coming out is more contagious than the first one. It's less lethal, which is obviously great. So I just don't love all this pressure. We heard from some of the Bills players kind of, little hesitant on getting it. They don't fully feel like they truly need it. It doesn't have that high of a death rate on younger people. You can still get it, and it still does have bad effects. We heard Jason Tatum, his athlete, had to use an inhaler while coming off of, recovering from COVID. So get the shot, don't get the shot. I think it should be your decision. My body, my choice. We use that argument sometimes. Obviously can't apply it to everything for some reason. I just don't like the pressure that's going around, folks. That's all. The people that do get the vaccines, kind of virtue signaling, saying that, they're saving everybody. They're the best person in the world for saving the planet. It's a thing that you can kind of, get Twitter points for, which people like to do. So I guess that's where we'll leave it, so we don't get taken off YouTube. All right. So those were all the stories that we needed to cover for today. So let's head over and talk about Game 6. NBA Finals tonight. Bucks up 3-2, baby. Yes, sir. Giannis going off. Chris Middleton having real great games. Drew Holiday having real great games. Pat Connaughton having real great games. While Chris Paul and Devin Booker having real good games, but making a little bit of boneheaded mistakes late in the games when the pressure is on the line. Is the pressure of the finals getting too much for Chris Paul, his first time in the finals? Devin Booker's his first time in the playoffs. Is the pressure getting to them a little bit? Giannis and Chris Middleton, they've been in the playoffs a little bit. They've had all the kind of expectations on them and always coming up a little short. But it seems like they've gotten their shit together here in this final series. So you give them credit. So let's see what the line is, see who's in and out, see what's all good to go, and have our official prediction for this game and see if we can go back-to-back on our hits. So here we go. Let's see what the line is. Let's get the line up on DraftKings. See what the line is, see how many we have to swallow for Milwaukee. They'll probably be favorites at home. We had them plus 3.5 on the road for Game 5. Once again, it's not on the front page, so I don't know what they're doing, but here we go. All right, here we go. Suns, Bucks. Suns plus 5, Bucks minus 5. Everybody's good to go for the Suns. Everybody's good to go for the Bucks. Besides Thanasis Antetokounmpo, he is still in the health and safety protocols because of COVID-19. How unfortunate. So, here we go. Who do we like tonight? Well, I think we just like instantly off the rip the Bucks because they are at home and we know they always rise to the occasion at home. They never falter at home. They've only lost one home game this entire playoff series, so this Bucks team locks it up at home. Now, what did we see from the Bucks that we liked in game number 6? Obviously, Giannis, always clutching out the games, the great defensive plays, the great, dunks on the offensive side of the board. In the final kind of 2 minutes to really kind of seal the game. So we love Giannis's clutchness, absolutely. Also, Drew Holiday's clutchness. He, once again, gets it done on the defensive end as well. Chris Middleton, not the clutchest player on the team, but, gives us that kind of uplifting scoring lift that we need offensively and still hits big shots down late with the final 5 minutes. But once it kind of gets into the final minute, we don't get the big clutchness by Chris Middleton. We also love Pat Connaughton, folks. Getting 30 minutes a game out here, the great defense that he provides. He may be their best three-point shooter. He just shot 4 of 6 from the 3 in game number 5, so we absolutely loved that. So that's what we love about the Bucks. And at home, everything that we love gets kind of amplified times 10 just because they're so consistent at home. Chris Middleton's so much better at home than he is on the road, so expect him to have a real great game tonight. Now, Suns, back against the wall. Must-win game. They lose, it's over. Bucks win the ring. They win, goes to Game 7, back to Phoenix, and they have a chance. So, before we kind of get too much further into this discussion, I want to see how the Suns and Bucks fare in, for the Suns, a must-win game, and for the Bucks, a true closeout game. So, let's quickly bring up what the Suns were doing here. I don't think they ever really had their back up against the wall. They never found themselves down in a 3-2 hole, a 3-1 hole, a 3-0 hole, anything like that. But let's see if we can kind of get something that resembles that kind of situation where it was kind of a must-win game. So here we go. First series was against the Lakers. They ended up finding themselves down 2-1, kind of a must-win game because if you go down 3-1, it's almost over from there, and then they rally off 3 straight wins. So when their back was against the wall against the Lakers, they go out and win by 8. They go out and win by 30, and then they go out and win by 15 to really close it out. So real great there. And they also won on the road against the Lakers team twice in the last 3 games to truly close out the series. So we do know that this Suns team can decently step it up when they need to, but again, we have to take it into full account that the Lakers were missing, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James wasn't 100%, so they were missing a lot of great pieces. Then against the Nuggets, they ended up sweeping them. So really kind of no back against the wall scenario there. And then once again with the Clippers, really no back against the wall. They were up 2-0, then they were up 2-1, then they were up 3-1, beating the Clippers at home. And then they were also able to beat the Clippers at home in game number 6 when they were able to close out the series. But when their back was decently against the wall, the most that it was against the wall was down 3-2. They ended up winning and won big by 27 points against the Clippers at home. So that's still a decent performance there. Let's quickly see, down 3-2, what did Chris Paul and Devin Booker do? Or up 3-2, I'm sorry. With Devin Booker, 22 points, 7 rebounds. He shot only 38%. That's not the best game. Chris Paul had the monster mammoth game, 41 points on 66% shooting. And, oh my God, 7 of 8 from 3. What a night, man, oh man. So it was Chris Paul, truly the one that stepped up big time. Jay Crowder also had a real solid game, 19 points on 5 of 9 from 3. DeAndre Ayton, 16 points, 17 rebounds. So we are, if we're expecting anybody to kind of step up above and beyond, it's going to have to be Chris Paul to really get it done. So a little concerning. We haven't really had the Clippers in the situation, do or die game, and we'll see how they do. Now I want to see how the Bucks fare when they are in a closeout game. So let's get up there. Playoff games. Here we go. All right, first series against the Heat. Obviously, they were in a closeout game, game 4, because they swept them. And in game 4, they won by 17. Fantastic. Was that their biggest scoring margin? They won by 2 game 1. They won by 34 game 2. They won by 29 game 3, and then they ended up winning by 17 game 4. So once again, still always rising to the occasion, everybody having a great night, and in the closeout game. Then they go and face the Brooklyn Nets, and they really didn't even have a closeout game until Game 7 on the road, and then they got it done in overtime. Let's see everybody stepping up here. Who stepped up big time in this closeout game? Can we get behind it? Chris Middleton, 23 points, 10 rebounds on 34% shooting. We had Giannis go for 40 and 13. Fantastic. Drew Holiday, 13 points, 18 assists. Pat Connaughton off the bench. He put up 9 points. Only bench player to score points. So fantastic there. So overall, this is some solid play there by the Bucks in a closeout road game against the Nets. Absolutely huge. Now against the Hawks. A closeout game in game number 6. On the road, absolutely big time, and they won by a big margin, 11-point win there to close out that series, stepping up to the occasion, not letting it go to a Game 7, closing it out 6, and they did it on the road. Now they're at home, so expect it to be even better. And like we said, we've kind of been comparing this Hawks and Suns team kind of the same in just kind of how the Bucks handled the series. They got down 0-2 against the Suns. They ended up getting down 0-1 against the Hawks, letting Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton beat them game 1, letting Clint Capella and Trae Young beat them game 1, but then able to just to kind of lock it up and be better ever since that game 1 in both these series, and now truly being the best team for the last 5-6 games, however many it goes, after kind of floundering in game number 1 of those series. So this Bucks team, closeout game on the road. Drew Holiday, 27 points, 9 assists, 9 rebounds, a great game. Chris Middleton, 32 points on 4 of 10 from the 3 and 45% overall. And Giannis did not play that game. So they were able to step up without Giannis on the road in the closeout game. So that's going to be huge. And Chris Middleton goes for 32. So this Bucks team has been in some must closeout games against the Nets in the Hawks series. Suns have never been in this situation before. Down 3-2, a must-win game. Suns, Chris Paul has to show back up. He's had 2 bad games this series. Devin Booker is going to have to play the best. DeAndre Ayton is going to have to get it done. I mean, both teams played absolutely great. Game 5, it's just the Suns blew it down late. And can we rely on Chris Paul? He's really been floundering late in the games, folks. It's unfortunate. Same thing with Devin Booker. Unfortunate. Floundering late in the games, and that's what we can't have from our superstars. Chris Middleton is a little, hit and miss from down late, but then Giannis and Drew Holiday have never had bad games in the final 1 minute of these games in the finals. So Bucks are a little bit more dependable. They're at home. We know they're absolutely fantastic at home. All the pressure is on the Suns here. How is Chris Paul going to respond? Does he flounder? How does Devin Booker respond? Young Devin Booker. How does young DeAndre Ayton respond? Can Jay Crowder have a solid game? Probably. And just how can the bench play? How can Cameron Payne? How can Cameron Johnson, put this team over the edge scoring wise? Because they're definitely going to need it, because we know Chris Middleton scores the ball very well at home. So Bucks -5, Suns +5. I'm going to take the Bucks -5 tonight. They close out. They win. The sustainability that this Bucks team has, like we said, they never ride the highs. They get down 0-2, they get down 0-1, they get down 15 in the first quarter. It doesn't matter. They stay the course. The Suns, if things start to go a little wrong, they need that kind of big spark to bring them back in. They need that big three that they had by Chris Paul to kind of uplift them. They needed that, once again, big three by Devin Booker to once again uplift them, to close the lead down from like 4 points to 2 points to a 1-point game. They need that spark. This Suns team this Bucks team gets down 15. They just stay the course. Giannis is still going to go inside. Giannis is still going to get fouled. Giannis is still going to hit miss some free throws. It doesn't matter. They will stay the course, and then they will build the momentum and get the lead back and build on the lead and take like a 15-point deficit and turn it into a 10-point lead. That's what this Bucks team does. You couple that while being at home. You couple that while Giannis just being absolutely fantastic here, never having a bad game. You take it with Jrue Holiday, that's blocking it up defensively. You're taking it with Chris Middleton, that's putting up like 30 points every single game here. You absolutely love it. You take it with Pat Connaughton getting it absolutely done off the bench here for this Bucks team. Bucks -5. They close it out at home, and the Bucks are NBA champions tonight, folks. Alrighty, so that is going to do it for us today, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Go make some money with that Bucks -5 tonight. Before we end the show, was there anything breaking? Breaking news. Where are we at? Does not appear so. So, we're back tomorrow, breaking down Game 6, potentially the final game. Potentially the final game of the NBA season. And if that happens, we will start our in-depth football review, getting us ready for the start of the NFL season. We will start that not tomorrow, since we'd have to break down the game, but the day after. What is that, Thursday? And if not, then we'll have to wait till after Game 7. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for just being here. Thank you. We appreciate you. So, we'll see you tomorrow, folks, live, noon Eastern, and we will see you. We will see you, and we will see you.